Today we're going to be jumping back into the BBB tournament. By the way, if you guys want to catch some more of the action in Spanish straight from the source, BBB does have an official channel that I'll have a link to down in the description below. We're going to be jumping into a series with the Phoenix King versus Khorne. Phoenix King is going to be the home team, with Khorne being the away team, and we start with a banger right from round one. We've got Khorne versus Lizardmen. One of the cooler matchups in the game. It's interesting. Rubber Duck of War also recently casted a replay from this matchup that came down to Temple Guard versus Scarbrand. Definitely recommend you guys go check that out also. We're just promoting everyone today. But that's how it is, you know. This time around, we've got something a little bit different. I mean, definitely Temple Guard supported by a Life Slans. Very strong. The Star Chamber Guardians in particular offer a lot of upside here with the magic damage against demonic units and so forth. A couple of Cold One Spear Riders for additional mobile anti-large. Love the pick of the cohort Javs. I've also been seeing a lot of Skink Skirmishers recently, which is great. I mean, they're a very cheap skirmish unit. They struggled a little bit in Warhammer 2 to ever find a place above Chameleon Skinks, but now with the changes to Ultra, they have a very high volume of fire for the cost and just generally very cost effective and cheap. Can get a lot of value easily. On the other side here, we've got Valky the Bloody up in the sky, a couple of Minotaurs, some Fleshhounds to chase those units, some Marauders with shields, a couple of Furies up in the sky, and some Minotaurs with great weapons as well. Valky is going to be somewhat leading the way here. She pops one of those Demon Shield procs to just tank out some of that damage, get in there, carve up a couple of those Skink Skirmisher models, and I'm being invaded here by a large cat, so I apologize if he's... Oh, yes, hello, sir. It's definitely an interesting matchup, and I particularly love this sort of build that combines the Temple Guard with the kind of skirmish units to protect, right? Because Temple Guard will take care of a lot of Khorne large stuff. Pretty much all the Khorne large stuff. Even big scaries like Bloodthirsters, especially supported properly. Although this build, I mean, with the Ripperdactyls and with all this skirmish, like just a YOLO charge by a Bloodthirster straight into the Slann is not likely to kill it. Bloodthirster's not wildly cost-effective to begin with. The Minotaurs are an interesting play, but in general, I mean, the Star Chamber Guardians, like I said, can take care of most of the large, protect them from the terrifying infantry, demonic light infantry of Khorne. Those Bloodletters, Exalted Bloodletters, definitely would tear apart the Temple Guard, so you definitely need protection, and these Skink Skirmishers can provide some very cheap skirmish overwatch. We'll get in close and we'll see them do some beautiful skirmishing back and forth. Khorne doing a great job of just, you know, walking backwards and forwards, picking things up, putting them down, slinging, I guess, using blowpipes to be specific. But gonna get a nice clash here. Saurus moving in, Saurus Spears specifically. Again, that anti-large component. The infantry of Khorne, it, like, maybe some heavy Khorne halberd infantry would have been interesting in this build. Would have given perhaps the Lizardmen some troubles. I don't know if they necessarily have a great direct answer for that, but certainly AoE magic damage is one way of dealing with any kind of expensive unit. In the case of Dwellers Below, just absolutely tears apart unit of Marauders there. The Minotaurs are somewhat protected by their magic resistance. I mean, all the Khorne units are, obviously, but still. The Star Chamber Guardians do end up taking a decent amount of damage in that engagement. We also see here the Furies kind of swooping in. The Furies so far haven't really been used to pressure the Skink Skirmishers too much. I mean, Skink Skirmishers 360 shooting, the fact that they're, you know, fire on the move, they will tear apart the Furies as they chase them. But even still, the Furies right now, I think, are maybe swarming these Ripperdactyls, which is an interesting play. I don't know if I totally agree with that. I'd probably send them off after these Skink Skirmishers in the back line. But in the meanwhile, over here, we've got a nice mobile engagement. Cold One Spear Riders losing out against all these Hounds and Marauders. Absolutely brutal. But again, this does mean that the Fleshhounds are not pressuring the Skink Skirmishers, and the Skink Skirmishers are just getting massive fire into the back of those units, getting some really nice value. Finally, we see some mobile pressure coming through, but again, facing a 400 cost skirmish unit with, you know, with like 1,300, 1,400 monstrous infantry is not at all cost efficient. So definitely a tough situation to be in. But the Furies also, again, Ripperdactyls do have a bonus versus infantry and just very high damage overall. Since Furies count as infantry-sized units, it's definitely not unexpected that the Ripperdactyls would win that fight fairly decisively. I mean, maybe unsupported 2v1, the Khorne Furies could actually do much better, but on the ground and with all this Overwatch, below pipe, fire, things are looking pretty rough, but Khorne's definitely not out of this yet. We've got the Skull Cannon moving in. We know from my video a couple days ago that that thing can carry some serious value. Lots of mobile units still to try and pressure, and the Lizardmen are going to start to run low on ammunition, but Temple Guard are still very healthy. The Slawn also is completely unopposed. Valkyria really hasn't tried to snipe him too hard. Arguably might have been worth it, because it does seem like these Temple Guard got a decent amount of healing. Hard to say, but another Spear Slupnir coming in, doing some real nice damage there. Cuts through quite a few unit models, almost routes off those Sora Spears, but look at how quickly that Skull Cannon is taking damage. And against this mass of angry lizards, I mean, certainly they have the weapon strength to just dish the damage, right, to the Skull Cannon, and especially the Star Chamber Guardians are going to be completely bypassing the physical resistance, plus armor-piercing anti-large heavy weapon damage, much more than the poor Skull Cannon can handle. And first blood appears to be drawn by the Lizardmen, very Rambo-like fashion with machine gun blowpipes, just gatting it down very cost-effectively. Love to see some skinks shine. I don't know why. They're just so adorable. Anyway, yeah, the Life Slawn kind of classic defense here, and the Skink Skirmishers really shining through. I think Phoenix King got a little hung up on some engagements and maybe didn't have the mobile pressure he needed to go after all of this skirmish. Likewise, I mean, I get the Minotaurs with Grapens fighting big monsters, but ultimately, I think it would have been better. He would have been better served to just have more anti-infantry components, right, to try and kill the Temple Guards. Definitely is a unit that you need to be aware of in this matchup and plan around. So taking at least some kind of Bloodletter, Exalted Bloodletter, something to provide you that anti-infantry that's not going to be subjected to their bonus versus large. Even still, I mean, especially with healing, the Star Chamber Guardians, they're pretty scary. That, again, magic attack can fight back against a lot of demonic units fairly consistently. But I mean, these Minotaurs are the same cost, 1-to-1, more or less. I'd have to check. I don't remember the Khorne or Regiment of Renown Bloodletter Infantry, which would be a solid bring here. That extra armor helps them a little bit against the Skink Skirmish fire. Still don't want them taking damage as much as you can help it, but yeah. Other than that, I mean, again, it's hard to predict what the Lizardmen are going to bring. They definitely can go big monsters here, with like a surprise Saurian out the side door, or maybe the side, hangar garage. I don't know. Anyway, rambling on a little bit at this point. Let's go ahead and move to Game 2, as this is a best-of-5 series, and I plan to cover the whole thing. We'll do a quick recap of Game 2, and then join me tomorrow for Game 3. In Game 2, Phoenix King's Dark Elves were tested by Kalharman's Slaanesh with a swift counterattack. The Dark Elves seized the initiative. The Slaanesh force never stood a chance against the width of the Dark Elves. Malekith repelling the advances of Azazel puts them 1-to-1 on the series. Let's go on to Game 3. We'll see you there tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.